Right. So when you look at this example, here this carbonide, one side we have a secondary carbon, other side we have a quaternary carbon. So quaternary carbon gets the first priority for migration over the secondary carbon. So oxygen insertion will take place here because it is a 4-membered ring. The product will be 5-membered ring, and the first one will be oxygen. Okay, right. When we do Baeyer-Villiger oxidation on this, and then when we treat this pillar with lithium hydroxide under aqueous methanol solvent, or we can also use LAH for this. I'll explain this. Okay, right. So when we do Baeyer-Villiger oxidation, what happens? Uh, because it is a tertiary carbon and it is a phenyl group. It is a tertiary carbon. It is a phenyl group. So tertiary carbon gets the first priority over phenyl group. So tertiary carbon will migrate. That means an oxygen insertion will take place between this carbon and carbonyl carbon. Okay, and what we get an ester. What is lithium hydroxide? Like sodium hydroxide, it is saponification. That means hydrolysis of ester under basic conditions. Okay, when we do hydrolysis, what we will get? We will get OH this side, other side it is benzoic acid. Okay, here the stereochemistry of alcohol will not be changed. Okay, so it will be like this only, because this carbon migrates, so the OH will be here only. There is no inversion of configuration or change in configuration. Okay, because this carbon will migrate, so OH will be there only. So when we hydrolyze an ester under basic conditions, what we get? We get an alcohol plus benzoic acid. But the same ester, if we reduce it with LAH, lithium aluminum hydride, what happens? Lithium aluminum hydride will reduce the ester. So this side we will get alcohol, other side also we will get alcohol. So yeah, for this we will get benzyl alcohol. Okay, right. I will give some more examples. So when we do ozonolysis on this alkene, followed by Baeyer-Villiger oxidation and then LAH reduction, what will be the product? You know, when we do ozonolysis, what is ozonolysis? Ozonolysis is breaking a double bond. So one side we will have a carbonyl, other side also we will have a carbonyl. So what we are getting? We are getting a carbonanone. Then under Baeyer-Villiger oxidation, so carbon migrates, so we will have alcohol here. Then we are getting lactone. When we do reduce that lactone with LAH, so both sides we will be getting alcohols. What are those alcohols? Whether cis or trans. See, this carbon and this carbon, they are in the same plane. They are in the same plane. So what we will get? We will get cis substituents here. So 1, 2 carbon and then OH. So right. So this is also below the plane. So ester formation takes place here. When we reduce it, this ester, it will become alcohol, and the other side also alcohol. You try writing each and every step. Okay, you just try writing each and every step. MCPBA is used for epoxidation also, right? So what if there is a double bond, that means alkene and carbonyl in the same group, then what will happen, whether epoxidation of alkene takes place or Baeyer-Williger oxidation of carbonyl takes place? Yes, it is a debate over them, but it is a case sensitive thing. A general condition can be taken as alpha beta unsaturated carbonyls undergo Baeyer-Williger oxidation. Alpha beta unsaturated carbonyls undergo Baeyer-Williger oxidation. Other unsaturated carbonyls undergo epoxidation. Having said that, only alpha beta unsaturated compounds will undergo Baeyer-Williger oxidation. It is not a 100% condition. Okay, so, there may be, sometimes there may be an exception also. Okay, so this rule applicable for 95% of the molecules. Alpha beta unsaturated carbonyls will undergo Baeyer-Williger oxidation, whereas other unsaturated carbonyls, that means a double bond and a carbonyl, both are there, then they may undergo epoxidation. Okay, it is not 100% true also. Okay, for example, in this case, yeah, for example, in this case, when we do when we add MCPBA, what happens? According to our definition, it is not alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl, so it must undergo epoxidation, right? But it is not. In this case, what is happening? It is undergoing Baeyer-Williger oxidation. It is undergoing Baeyer-Williger oxidation. It is not undergoing epoxidation. Okay, so this rule applicable for 95% of the systems, but there may be some exceptional cases like this one. Okay, so when we do Baeyer-Williger oxidation, what is the product? Right, so this is a tertiary center, this is a secondary carbon, so tertiary gets the priority over secondary, so this carbon undergoes migration in Baeyer-Williger oxidation. So this will give this lactone as the product. When we do sodium hydroxide hydrolysis, that is saponification, what happens? This OH, ester undergoes hydrolysis to generate alcohol and carboxylic acid. As we can see, this OH and this ester group both are in same plane, and of course they are below the plane. So what we will get, these two substituents are below the plane, and this OMe, it is opposite plane to this. So when we write these two below the plane, OMe will be above the plane, and the ring size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can redraw it like a 5-membered system. We can redraw it like a 5-membered system. So this is the double bond, and here we have OMe, and this side, yes, it is a carboxylic acid system, 1 carbon, COOH, and this side it is a OH. Okay, right. These two are in same plane and this is in opposite plane. So these must be written cis and this must be written trans. If we write both of them below the plane, this must be above the plane. Then what happens? We can extend this reaction. Right, when we add iodine, when we add to iodine, so double bond undergoes iodination. That means first it will form iodonium ion, 3-membered ring. Then this carboxylic acid and the neighboring group participation will open that. So I think this question was given in previous exams also. So OH, OMe, this fellow CO, OH, there will be a formation of iodonium ion here. That means a 3-membered ring with iodine, a 3-membered ring with iodine. So this OH will undergo neighboring group participation and will open that 3-membered ring. Since it is below the plane, so this oxygen also below the plane. Uh, Iodonium ion can form in any plane, above the plane or below the plane. But this neighboring group participation group, that means OH is coming below the plane. Iodonium ion formation in the above the plane is useful for this, for us. Okay, so iodonium ion forms in the above the plane, then OH from neighboring group participation will approach this iodonium ion from below the plane and open it. So we will get an iodination here. Then we can extend it this further. When we do acetic anhydride and pyridine, what happens? Alcoholic groups will be protected as OAC. Alcoholic pyridine will pick up this proton, O minus will attack on acetic anhydride, so it becomes OAC. Then when we do add tributyl tin hydride and AIBN, this condition is used for radical generation. AIBN is a radical generator, and tributyl tin hydride will continue that radical reaction. Generally, it is used for the deiodination or dehallucination. Tributyl tin hydride AIBN, it is used for dehallucination. Okay. Then finally, what we will use a strong uh, acidic conditions, tribromo boron. It is generally used for deprotection of O-methyl groups to OH. BBr3, if it is wherever OMe is there, then it will deprotect this methyl group. So OMe becomes OH. Okay, so I'll write one by one. So this BBr3, what is it is doing? It deprotects OMe ether, so it becomes OH. What is this tributyl tin hydride and AIBN is doing? It is doing dehallucination. So there will be no iodine here. Okay. Then what is this acetic anhydride is doing? It is protecting OH. So we will get OAC. We will protect this. Iodine will not be there, and of course this lactone will be there. So this is called core lactone. Its name is called core lactone. Why? Because EJ Core has used this intermediate in the synthesis of prostaglandins. So it is a lengthy step. We can use other steps also for explaining. So this is used for prostaglandin synthesis by EJ Core. So that is why this lactone, it is called core lactone. This lactone is also called as core lactone. I think it is not clear. I'll write it. Tributyl tin hydride. Tributyl tin hydride. I'll write it again. Tributyl tin hydride. Please take a snapshot. We will see an exceptional example here. This is camphor. When we do Baeyer-Villiger oxidation on camphor, yes, it obeys the exact rules. So this is a quaternary carbon, this is a secondary carbon. So what happens? Quaternary carbon will migrate in Baeyer-Villiger oxidation, right? So in Baeyer-Villiger oxidation, we can use any per acid, any per acid. So this is a quaternary center, so it will migrate, right? But when we do use Baeyer-Villiger oxidation conditions on epicamphor, what is epicamphor? This is epicamphor. So carbonyl, if it is here, it is called camphor. Carbonyl is on the other side, it is called epicamphor. When we use Baeyer-Villiger oxidation conditions on epicamphor, of course, we can expect it is a tertiary center, it is a secondary center. So what we expect is tertiary center to migrate, but here it is not the case. Okay, epicenter, epicamphor is an example where secondary carbon will undergo migration over tertiary center. So the product is, so tertiary center will not migrate, but the secondary center will migrate. So this is the an exception for Baeyer-Villiger oxidation. Of course, it is a previous question also. Yeah, please take a snapshot. I'm going to change this. Okay. Right. We can oxidize amines using same paracids or peroxides, H2O2 or MCPPA. What happens when we oxidize amines? If nitrogen is bonded to three carbons, like in this case, then nitrogen will be oxidized to N oxides. Nitrogen will be oxidized to N oxides, where we can use this lone pair to form a bond with oxygen. Okay, these are called N oxides. If nitrogen is already having three bonds with the three carbons, then what we will get N oxides, or we can simply write a bond nitrogen plus charge, oxygen minus charge. But if the nitrogen is bond is having some hydrogens, then what happens when we do oxidation of this amine, it will be oxidized to nitro. It will be oxidized to nitro. Okay, so remember this. If nitrogen doesn't have any hydrogens, it will be oxidized to N oxides. We can write like this also. N plus oxygen minus. Okay, N plus oxygen minus. If nitrogen possesses hydrogens, then we can oxidize it to nitro. Similarly, if we have sulfur oxygen group, so it will have two lone pairs, we can oxidize it to sulfur dioxide, or if we further oxidize it, we can do that, we will get sulfur dioxide. So sulfur oxide, sulfur dioxide. So we can do this, okay, oxidation of heterocyclic systems. So we can oxidize nitrogen, we can oxidize sulfur, okay. Right. I will tell you that dehallucination using tributyl tin hydride and AABN. Okay. Right. I'll explain it with one more example. So I don't take that previous example. I will explain it with a separate example. Right. In this case, so why I'm choosing this is to just explain you the compatibility of the reactivity of the reagent. Okay. Right. So there is an alcohol, alpha hydroxy alcohol. When we do treat this alcohol with tosyl chloride and pyridine, what is tosyl chloride? Paratoluene sulfonyl chloride. So this will be protected, alcohol will be protected as O-tosyl. Alcohol will be protected as O-tosyl. Okay. When we do react this O-tosyl, because it is a good leaving group, then we can treat that O-tosyl, which is a good leaving group. When we treat that with sodium iodide under very high temperatures, that means under reflux conditions, then I minus will replace that O-tosyl. I minus will replace that O-tosyl. So now what we'll get? Alpha iodolactone. Alpha iodolactone. Then this halogen can be removed using tributyl tin hydride and AIBN. AIBN. Okay, so that iodine will be removed. You just check that the reagent is not acidic, so acid sensitive functional groups can be protected, and it is not basic also, because the lactam is stable, right? The lactam, it is intact. So that means other functional groups can be saved when we use these reaction conditions. Okay. So tosyl chloride and pyridine, it is a basic condition. So of course, that won't affect any acid sensitive functional groups or lactam. Sodium iodide, it is a nucleophile, so it will only replace that. So I'll give one by one. Okay. All right. I'll tell you only these things. Okay. I don't take all of them. So what happens? It becomes O-tosyl. This becomes O-tosyl. This becomes O-tosyl. I don't take all of them. Okay. Right. When we treat that with the second reagent, what happens? This sodium iodide, now under reflux conditions, it acts as a nucleophile. It acts as a nucleophile. So I minus will replace O-tosyl. I minus will replace O-tosyl. Then when we use third reaction, what happens? AABN, of course, when we heat this AABN, I'll explain it. Isobutyronitrile, when we heat it, it generates radicals. So it generates radicals. So nitrogen gas will be leaving, and we are getting isobutyronitrile radical. So this radical, what happens? It will pick up a proton from tributyl tin hydride. it will pick up a proton from tributyl tin hydride. So this bond will undergo homolytic cleavage. So one radical will combine with this hydrogen radical. It generates hydrogen radical and a tin radical. So hydrogen radical will be picked up by isobutyronitride radical, and we are generating tin radical here. So what we are doing, we are generating tin radical. Tin radical. Tin it is having a good affinity for halogens. Tin is having a good affinity for halogens. So wherever halogen is there, tin will pick up this. Okay. Then what we are getting? We are getting a radical here plus tri-n-butyl tin iodide. Okay. Now this radical will pick up another hydrogen from another tributyl tin hydride. Okay, that means we don't need to use this ABN in excess amount. Okay, it is just a catalyst. 1 mole percent or 2 mole percent is enough. Then this generated radical will pick up proton from this tin reagent, so that again it generates a tin radical. This tin radical will form a bond with iodine of one more molecule, so it generates this. That means it is a cyclic system. Okay, so this generated radical will pick up a proton from this, so it generates a tin radical. Tin radical will pick up iodine, so it generates this radical. So it is a cyclic reaction. Okay, so it happens again and again. Okay, so this is how we can dehallucinate, or we can simply say it is a reduction of alcohol. It is reduction of alcohol. You see, in the beginning OH is there, but in the ending OH is not. It is any alcohol. It is not only alpha hydroxy ketones or something. Okay, any alcohol can be removed. Any alcohol can be removed, or we can say reduction of alcohol. Any alcohol can be removed using these reaction conditions. So protect it as a O2 then replace it with iodine by treating with sodium iodide under reflux conditions. Then dehallucination takes place with the tributyl tin hydride and AABN. Okay, so this is a reduction of alcohol. we can explore the same reaction conditions for other reactions. So what happens when we treat this fellow with the AIBN, sorry, AIBN and tributyl tin hydride? So dehallucination takes place, right? But in the process, we can also use some other electrophiles so that it will react with other electrophiles or a radical carrier. See, in this case, what happens? First, it generates a radical, right? In this case, it generates a radical. This radical will undergo Michael addition or 1,4 addition, right? So this radical can undergo 1,4 addition. Okay, sorry, this is tributyl tin hydride. Okay, so we can do this dehallucination. At the same time, if we want to explore it further, we can explore this radical in intermediate. What we need to do is we need to add a reagent which can react with radicals. So this radical will undergo 1,4 addition, Michael addition. So it generates and radical here, right? So this we can continue. This radical pick up a proton from tributyl tin, then tin will again take iodine from another iodocyclohexane, then this reaction will continue, right? So that means the product is this fellow. So the radical generated can be used for Michael additions also. Okay. So this radical will pick up a proton from this, and so it becomes neutral, and it will generate another tributyl tin radical. This tin radical again will react with this iodine, so it generates this radical. So it is a cyclic reaction. I will also give one more example where a tin is already present in the system reaction system itself. So this is adamantane, bromoadamantane. What happens when we heat this fellow? It generates a radical here. ABN radical will take out this halogen, so it generates a radical here. it generates a radical here. This radical will undergo reaction with a double bond. This radical will undergo reaction with a double bond. So what happens? This will be migrating to this and tin will be leaving. So I will explain this.